Good morning, students. I am Elin Shende, Assistant Professor in English at this College of Commerce, Kolkata. Welcome you all to E-class of Become Semester 3 in the subject Supplementary English. As yesterday we discussed one poem, today also we are going to discuss another poem. The name or the title of this poem is Ulysses, and it is written by well-known poet Alfred Tennyson. So as well, in general also I tell you about the author of the poet first, and then we go to the main content in the same way. Today also we are going to do same. In the beginning we are going to discuss about Alfred Tennyson, who is the poet of this famous poem Ulysses. So Alfred Tennyson was born in the year 1809 and he died in the year 1892. Alfred Tennyson is regarded as the chief representative poet of the Victorian era or Victorian age. He started writing at an early age, and his first volume of poems was published when he was only 17. It means he was just 17 years old when he published his first volume of poem. It was definitely early age, and in that age also he had got the maturity of writing the poems and publishing the same. Then he entered Trinity College. He was educated at Trinity College, Cambridge in 1827, but had to leave it before taking his degree on account of his father's death. But because of the sudden demise of his father from this world, he had to leave that education before completing his degree. So this was kind of unfortunate for him. His poetic talent attracted the attention of great writers of the day, including S.T. Coleridge. He had the poetic knowledge. He had started writing the poems in the very right age, in the very early age, and that's why he drew the attention of some established poets of that era, including S.T. Coleridge. S.T. Coleridge is supposed to be a great poet from England, and his poems, his talent, Alfred Tennyson's talent of writing poetry or writing poems attracted the attention of this great scholar, this great author, this great poet, that is S.T. Coleridge. The two volumes of poems. Poems here is actually the name or the title of his collection of poems. So he published two volumes of his poems under this title. He published his poems. He published two volumes of poems in the year 1942, which won him enduring fame. He achieved name and fame because of those two volumes of poems which he published in 1942. He succeeded William Wordsworth as the poet laureate of Great Britain and Ireland in 1950 and held the position until his death in 1892. It means definitely he was a great poem during that time in the public as well as in the court of kings. Ulysses was first published in 1842. So the poem that we are going to discuss about, or we are discussing about Ulysses, it was first time it was published in 1842. It is a dramatic monologue. Now this word monologue is important because in this piece of literature, in this particular poem Ulysses, we see only one speaker is there, and the name of that speaker is Ulysses. Is shown as the king of Ithaca. Ithaca is the name of the kingdom. So Ulysses is shown as the king of Ithaca, a great land, big kingdom, and he speaks. He tells something to the others. But it is supposed that he is the only speaker, and all the other people around him, or whoever are shown in this poem, are supposed to be the listeners. So this way monologue means he himself talks. Sometimes he talks to himself, Sometimes he talks to other people, but we see only one character. So far as this Ulysses is concerned, Ulysses himself. Then Ulysses, though an old man now, sorry, it is a dramatic monologue in which Ulysses, the Greek hero, is the speaker, as I have just told you. Ulysses, though an old man now, is shown as an old man now. Is thirsty for knowledge and experience. He has this kind of desire in his heart to gain more knowledge and more experience in his life. He doesn't like leading the life of an idle king. Idle, I-D-L-E. Idle king. He doesn't want to be a lazy king. He doesn't want to live in his kingdom only. He wants to explore the world, even though he is old now, as it is given in this poem. His age is not a deterrent for him. His age is no bar for him. It is no way a problem for him to explore his life. The poem conveys to us his resolve, his determination, his strong desire to go forward, to go ahead in life and face the challenges of life, and to be always ready to face suddenly erupted challenges, to plant challenges, whatever is there in our life in the future. We get this message from this poem. To strive, to work hard, to struggle, to seek, to search, to find, to discover, to find, and not to yield, and not to surrender. So this is the message that we get from this poem. Now, you'll come across some certain names in this poem. First of all, I have already told you about Ulysses, who is shown as the king of Ithaca and who has fought the Trojan War. You'll come across this word Troy. This refers to the Trojan War, which continued nearly for 10 years, and this person, this great king, this hero of our poem Ulysses himself was the hero of that war, and he fought that battle for 10 years, and after that also he wandered on the undiscovered lands, and it continued nearly for 20 years. It means he was on the adventurous journey nearly for 20 years. So we are going to discuss all this in this beautiful poem, in this wonderfully written poem by Alfred Tennyson. We will come across another word which is very important to know for you, for all of us, so that we can understand it well, so that we can understand this poem in better way. That name is Telemachus. Now this is another character apart from Ulysses. Telemachus is shown as a son, as a good son, an able son of Ulysses, the son of Ulysses. So these two characters are important, and this word, that is Troy, refers to the Trojan War, about which I have just told you. Now see, it little profits. In the very beginning line, Ulysses says, it is a monologue. It means Ulysses himself speaks, and supposed we all are just the listeners. He says, it little profits that an idle king, idle, ideally, it means lazy, without work, living in pleasures, living in leisure, having a lot of time, enjoying his life at home. He says, it little profits, it is of no use. He says, Ulysses says here that it is of no use, it little profits, or it doesn't profit anyway to the person, to the man. It is of no use, it is useless that an idle king, to be an idle king, to live the life idly, to lead a lazy life, he says. By this still hearth, H-E-A-R-T-H, I have written the meaning of this hearth. It means fireplace. Among these barren cracks, it means rocky and unproductive land. He is describing his own land. It is supposed, it is considered, it is assumed that he has discovered a lot of land somewhere outside and now he has come back to his people. He is among his own people. He is living with them right now. But he has discovered so many things in his life. He has fought so many battles in his life. But now, after 20 years of adventurous journey, he has come back to his people. But he sees that life when he is among his own people in his own kingdom. He finds that his own land is rocky and unproductive, and people are enjoying, and he himself is also enjoying that life of comfort, but he does not like it. And that's why he says that to be here by this still earth, means in the family, among these barren crags, rocky and unproductive land of his own kingdom, matched with an aged wife, with his wife and children and other people also in his own land, I met and dole, measure and give out, in small quantity, unequal laws unto a savage race. Savage race. Savage race means uncivilized people. It says that there are some people who are yet to be civilized. He calls his own people savage race because they do not honor him. But the fact is that he has come back to them after fighting nearly for 20 years, hosting the flag of his own kingdom. Actually, they should be proud of him, but he says a very different scenario in his own land, in his own home. Here we can say, and that is why he is upset and says that it is of no worth, it is of no use, it is just a waste of time to be here among these idle people, to be an idle king with wife, children, seeing the rocky and unproductive land, and among this uncivilized people that hoard, that collect. What? They collect wealth. They are busy in making money only and not in adventurous things which he himself had undertaken. And he was out there for nearly 20 years. So he is happy with that adventurous life. But when he sees with his naked eyes, with his eyes, that the people of his own kingdom are just living their life idly, he criticizes them. He does not like that kind of life, and that's why he himself thinks that he is unfit to be here among these people, and sleep and feed and no, not me. So these people of mine land, these people of mine kingdom are happy with their traditional lifestyle. They're happy with making money, sleeping, wasting their time in unproductive works, and just having a leisure life. So he is quite fed up with this lifestyle, and that's why he says that he wants to go on adventure once again in his life. Even though in the introductory part we have seen, we have been given, it is given in the introductory part that he is now old, because in the young age he discovered so many lands, the foreign lands, but now at this point of time he is in his own kingdom, but he finds that kingdom unfitting for himself, unsuitable for himself. And the next, this is what the criticism by Ulysses of his own people, because they are idly living their life. In the next stanza, what does he say? It's interesting to me. It's very interesting to know for all of us. He says further, I cannot rest from travel. I cannot stop, I cannot pause, I cannot be here, I cannot stop my life here, I cannot pause. I can take a break from my adventures. When he finds it difficult for himself to be there in his kingdom, he says, I cannot rest, I cannot stop from travel, from the adventurous journey, from the adventures. I will drink life to the lees. He says, to the lees, L-E-E-S, means, I have written the meaning of this particular line here. Drink life to the lees, means enjoy life fully. To the fullest brim, he wants to enjoy his life. He wants to enjoy his life fully. He wants everything in his life. I cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to the lees. I will live my life fully. I will enjoy my life fully. All times I have enjoyed. Just think that he was out in a foreign land, in the land of Trojan or Troy, nearly for 10 years, and after that also he wanders everywhere. He discovered a lot of things, and that's why he feels that he has enjoyed a lot, and still he wants more enjoyment in his life. More enjoyment, so not pleasures, not earthly pleasures, but the adventurous life, the life of a warrior, the life of victories. He wants that kind of life. I have enjoyed greatly. I have enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly, has faced so many challenges, so many problems, so many difficulties in his adventurous journey. But still he is happy and he says that all times I have enjoyed my life greatly and suffered also, both with those that loved me. Because when he went to discover a new land, a foreign land, when he went outside, leaving behind his own kingdom, he was not just alone. He was accompanied. He had the company of his fellow men. He had the company of some of the great warriors along with him. There were so many people along with him, and they also had the equal share in the discoveries when he made in his life. It means he was not alone. He had the good company of his people. Some people, right? Greatly have suffered greatly both with those who loved me and alone also. On shore, in the oceans, on the shores, in the oceans, and went through scudding drifts. Scudding drifts. I have written the meaning of this also, I think. Scudding drifts means floating clouds. Below there was sea, there was ocean, there was shore, and above there was sky, blue sky, sometimes clouds in the sky. And this way he was in the middle, but he was discovering something, and he was happy with that kind of life. And that's why he says that Lord man alone on shore and went through scudding drifts, the floating clouds, the rainy heads, HYADDS. It means constellation, a group of 7 stars which shows you the directions. It is believed that one can tell the future seeing those stars, constellation. So this way he was out somewhere in the foreign land, far away from his own people, far away from Ithaca, his own kingdom, but he was actually enjoying that kind of life. So he has already experienced all these things, but still he has a desire quench in his heart that he wants to discover more and more unto the last breath of his life until he dies. He is not happy anyway with his current life, his present life. Vexed, troubled, and dim sea. I am become a name. Means he has achieved name and fame because of his discoveries, because of his victories in the foreign land. He says that he has become a household name, he has become a famous name because of his adventures. I have achieved a name, I am become a name for always roaming, for always wandering, for always on a journey to discover something new with the hungry heart. With the hungry heart. Hungry heart means indomitable spirit or desire or quench. It means he is not satisfied, he is not contented with whatever he has achieved. He has enjoyed his life to a greater extent, to a larger extent, but still he wants that kind of life once again in his life. So that he says that he has hungry heart. Much have I seen and known, cities of men and manners, climates, councils and governments. He has met in his journey with so many people, the people from different cultural backgrounds. He got to know about their culture, about their manners, about their lifestyles, about their languages. He got the knowledge of all these things, and this way he got good experience in his life, rich experience of all these things. That's why he says, much have I seen and known. Cities of men, different cities, different countries, different cultures and manners, climates, weathers, atmospheres, social, cultural, etc., linguistics, councils, governing bodies, the people, the kings, the emperors, etc., governments, myself not least, but honored of them all, and being a good person, being a great king, he was welcomed by so many kings in their respective kingdoms, and this way he was respected greatly by the people of the world. Further he says, myself not least, but honored of them all, and drunk delight of battle with my peers. Peers means fellow men, means the people, the warrior who were with him in his journey, in his adventurous journey. Peers was not alone. I have just told you about this. That he was not alone. He was accompanied by good warriors, and that's why he says that he has experienced all this. He was welcomed by all those people, the kings of other kingdoms, along with his peers or fellow men. Other warriors also who were there along with him. And drunk delight of battle with my peers, far on the ringing plains of windy Troy. This is very important point. War of Troy. I'd like to tell you about this mythological war, of which Ulysses was the greatest hero because he had fought this battle. Troy here refers to the Trojan War. Some movies are also there on this theme, on this war. You'll see the Hollywood movies are there available today. So this is very famous mythological battle. It is given in the Greek mythology, and Homer was from this in his book of poetry Iliad has written about this great war which continued nearly for 10 years. It is a very huge time. It is a very large period of time, but it continued. Just like Indian Mahabharata or Ramayana, etc. So that is also a mythology, and that is a mythological war. So Troy, the famous city where Trojan War took place, Trojan War is described in Homer's Iliad. He was a great Greek poet, the ancient poet, and has written Iliad, and he has described this battle in his Iliad. The war was waged by the Greeks against the city of Troy. It was started by the Greeks against the city of Troy to bring back Helen, the wife of Menelaus of Sparta, who had eloped, भागकर गई थी घर से with Paris of Troy, and that is why that great war was fought. So further, Ulysses, our hero here, says, what does he say? Far on the ringing plains of windy Troy, where there was just sand, I have fought, he says, and the part of all that I have made. I also participated in that Trojan War. He says that great war which was there nearly for 10 years. Your experience is an arch, whether through glimpse that traveled world, whose margin fades. And that's why he says, his experience is an arch with a main way to know unexplored world. It means he has already known, he has got the information about the rest of the world also. He has discovered so many foreign lands, but still he says that there are some new discoveries to be made, and this experience of Ulysses would definitely help himself in discovering, in knowing about the new lands, the new things, the new cultures, the new kingdoms. This will be a kind of benefit for him because he himself has personally has participated in all these battles, the Trojan War, the War of Troy, etc. Then he says, forever and forever, when I move, how dull it is to pause to make an end how dull it is to pause, how unfortunate it is for himself, for Ulysses himself, to stop in one place, to pause in one place, to be here among all these idle people who are living, who are leading their life idly, holding nothing to discover the new things. He is criticizing once again his own people and his life also, because now after 20 years of his adventurous journey, he has come back to his own people and living idle life, a lazy life. Lazy life in the sense he is enjoying a kind of comfort, kind of luxury in his life right now, and that's why he says that how dull it is to pause, how unfortunate it is to pause, to stop, to make an aim to die here among these people. It is very unfortunate, it is very dull for himself. He says, to rust unburnished, do not shine, not to shine in use. I have written the meaning of this particular word here on the blackboard. He says that he doesn't want to rust unburnished. It means to rust like a sword unused. You might have seen that when the sword is unused, when it is not used, it gets rusted. It is of no use after some years. It means that we should live active life, otherwise we can become lazy person, and that's why he himself feels that he should not end his life like rust unburnished. That is a sword that is unused. And that's why he says further, to rust unburnished, not to shine in use, as though to breathe were life. Just breathing, eating, enjoying, having comfort, having pleasure is not life. At least it is not life at all for this great man, Ulysses, the king of Ithaca kingdom. It is quite useless, it has no meaning. This kind of life has no meaning for this great king Ulysses. And that's why he said, only breathing is life? Definitely not. He doesn't want to confine himself to this kind of lifestyle. And that's why further says, as though to breathe were life, life piled on life, were all too little, and of one to me little remains. But every hour is saved from that eternal silence. Eternal silence means the end of life. The end of life means death, our demise from this mortal world into that world, our death. And that's why he says that I have saved some time. It means even though he has been shown an old person now in this poem, he says that even though I have become old, I have saved some time to make some new discoveries in my life before I meet to my end, before I die. Then he says, and actually he wants to utilize this very important time of his life in discovering new and new things, because still he has some years in his hand. He can live, he can survive for some more years, and he wants to utilize that particular period of time, that span of his life, in discovering so many new things. He wants to discover new land, new foreign land, and wants to visit a lot of people. Then he says, from that eternal silence, something more, something great, a bringer of new things, and while it were, V-I-L-E, while means disgusting or wicked, and while it were for some three sons, S-U-N-S, not S-O-N-S, son, it means 3 years. Most probably this refers to the period of time when he was living among his people after coming back from the Trojan War, or the discovery or the adventurous life, which it means when he was out somewhere in the foreign land nearly for 20 years, and after that he came back. Most probably this shows that he lived amongst his people nearly for 3 years after coming back from his journey of adventure. for some 3 sums to store and hold myself, to live here, to live a very comfortable and lazy and idle and pleasureless life. He doesn't want to lead such kind of life, and that's why he says to follow knowledge like a sinking star beyond the utmost bound of human thought. And at this right age also, he thinks that he has to discover so many things, the lands which were never discovered before ever, and he is interested in knowing about all those things which are even beyond the periphery of thinking of the human being. He wants to discover those things. He wants to visit the land which is far away, the lands which are far away from his own land, that is the kingdom of Ithaca. He wants to go there, he wants to meet those people, he wants to discover so many things in his life. At this moment also, when he is old enough, he is not young. When he was young, he has already discovered so many things, but even now, at this age also, he has that indomitable spirit, hungry heart for the new discoveries. In the second part of this poem, he tells, Alfred Tennyson tells us about Telemachus. Telemachus was shown as the son of Ulysses. He is a good person, like his father Ulysses. Now see, this is my son, my own Telemachus, to whom I leave the scepter and island means Ithaca kingdom. Scepter means a rod which symbolizes the authority of kingdom. Right? Earlier there was this kind of tradition. The kings of the empires used to carry a kind of rod which was the symbol of prestige, and it represented somewhere their own kingdom. So it has the prestige, right? So scepter, a rod which is the symbol of authority of kingdom. He says that this is my son, my own son Telemachus, to whom I live. I hand over this kingdom. And that scepter, well loved of me, is my beloved son. He is the great man of qualities, but he is my own son. He is a good person, well loved of me, discerning to fulfill his wise, W-I-S-E, होशियार है. This labor, his efforts, by slow prudence means wisdom, to make mild a rugged people, R-U-G-G-E-D, the same, savage race, the word which he has used, which Ulysses has used for his own people who are still to be civilized, for it to be civilized. He has used this word for again his own people, uncivilized people. Why he is calling his people uncivilized? Is because they are not interested. So many people are there living in his kingdom, but they are not interested in making the discoveries. They are just happy with the carnal life, that comfortable life, that lazy life, and that's why he says that my son Telemachus has this capacity, this competency, this ability that he can soften, he can teach them something. Teach them means the rugged people, and through softer degrees. Patience, there's a lot of patience also. And it is really the first requirement in a good king. He has patience and subdue them to the useful and good. And definitely he would be able to change them and make them civilized, teach them the importance of being good people. And next he says, most blameless is he. Blameless. He is innocent, he is a good man. There is no any blame against him. He is a very good man, an innocent person with a pure heart and pure mind also. Is he centered in the sphere? He is very punctual. He is work so far as his duty is concerned. He is very punctual. Of common duties, descent not to fail, in offices of tenderness. It means in the very beginning, I have already told that Ulysses had wife also, and that's why when he came back, he was living with his people, with his son Telemachus, with his wife, who has also now become old like himself. So he is able to look after Ulysses' wife, means Telemachus' mother, and pay with adoration to the respect to my household gods. When I am gone, he works his work, I know him. It means when he says that I am ready to leave this land, to leave this kingdom once again in order to discover something more in my life, he is quite confident that his son Telemachus would be able to look after his people, to look after, to show respect, his due respect towards the gods of his kingdom, and definitely Ulysses' wife also. So he has this confidence about his own son Telemachus, and he's sure that tomorrow, even today, he is good. He would be a very good king also after he is gone for new discoveries. After he is gone away from his own land of Ithaca. Then in the third part of this poem, he says, this is somewhat a mythological story, and that's why you need to understand so many things about this. There lies the port. There are so many ports, so many castles are there. The vessel puffs her sail. There gloom the dark, broad seas. There are so many ports, castles. Vessel is ready. Vessel means a big ship, right? A big ship is there. Her sail. There gloom the dark. There is a large ocean. There is large sea. There is darkness. There is gloom also. There is sadness also. Souls that have toiled, my mariners. And he now invites his people who were there along with him in his adventurous journey. For 20 years they were out, they were away from his own people, they were away from their own people. He again appeals to those great warriors of his kingdom, and he says, get ready, be ready, souls, the people, my mariners, souls that have toiled, that have made a lot of efforts during that long journey of 20 years, and what definitely they also must have got tired, but they haven't lost their spirit, they haven't lost their faith, they haven't lost their confidence, and that's why he appeals to them earnestly and says, my people, my soul, my mariners, my great warriors, get ready and thought with me that ever with a frolic welcome look, full joy of life. They also have enjoyed their life to the fullest extent. The thunder and the sunshine and opposed free hearts, free foreheads, you and I are old. He says that we have endured a lot in our life. Now I have also become old. You also must have become old. Definitely. Old age has ate his honor and his toil. Then he says, death closes all. If there is death, if there is the end of life, it definitely stops everything. But still we have some more time in our hand, in our life. But something ere the end, but before the end, but before the death, some work of noble note, some noble work, some great task, some lofty work can be done in that period of time which we have saved in our life. Unto the last breath, we would do something new. We are going to discover something new. He has this indomitable spirit in his heart, and he appeals earnestly to his people to be ready, to get ready for the new discoveries. And he says, death closes all, but something at the end, some work of noble note, some work of noble nature, some great task, some great work, may it be done, can be definitely done. And in the last part of this poem, he says, not becoming men that strove with gods. We are the people, we cannot get tired of 20 years journey only. Definitely we have this great spirit in our heart, and he says that we have fought with the gods also. During those 20 years we have fought, we have actually participated in that great war of Troy, where the great people, and definitely we cannot die before doing something worthy for our kingdom, for the people of the world. And that's why he says that we are those people, we have fought with gods also. The lights begin to twinkle from the rocks. The long day ends, the slow moon climbs the deep. Monsoon sound groaning, especially of water in the sea, round with many voices. Come, my friends, this is not too late to seek a newer world. Definitely, there is sky, there is ocean, there is voice, there is groaning, there is this kind of sound. You will experience all these things. We have already experienced all these things, but still there is time. Come out of your huts, come out of your homes, come out of your places, come out of your comfort, come out of your pleasure, come out of your leisure. We still have some time in our life in order to make new discoveries, to achieve something new and more and more and more. And then he says, this is not too late to seek a new world. Push off, get ready. Push off and sitting well in order to smite, to strike against the water. Be ready to board the ships, to board the vessels. The sounding furrows, the tracks made in the water, because they would be going to discover all these things, boarding the vessels or the ships. They have their ships with them. For my purpose holds to sail beyond the sunset, and we should leave this country right now. Where the sun sets, we will go beyond that place. See the spirit in the heart of this great man, Ulysses, at this right age. When he is old, when he is not young, he appeals his people and he makes them ready. He tries his level best to change their minds, and once again invites them to join him in this new adventure, in this new journey. To sail beyond the sunset and the baths of all the western stars until I die, and fight in your life unto the last breath, until you die. He says, it may be that the gulfs will wash us down. There is the possibility that we will get drowned in the water, in the sea, in the ocean. Definitely we can die in this journey, which are going to start in the second inning of our life. But still he is ready to be on that journey. It may be we shall touch the happy isles, means kind of paradise. Maybe most probably we will go to that land which is supposed to be the paradise and see the great Achilles. Achilles was a great king shown in the Greek mythology. And Ulysses says there, most probably will meet one day the great warrior, a person who has made a lot of victories in his life. That is great Achilles, the greatest warrior on this planet, whom we know about, whom we have heard a lot, but whom we have never met. Most probably, maybe we'll meet him also. Whom we know, too much is taken, much abides, and though we are not now that strength which in old days moved earth and heaven, that which we are one equal temper of heroic hearts, made weak by time and fate, but strong in will, to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. And he, at the end of this poem, says that certainly we have become old. We have lost a lot of physical strength. We have lost so many things. We have lost our energy because we are not young. But this is the rule of nature. What can we do? But still we have young hearts, we have young minds, and we have this spirit which we should not let be grown. And that's why he says that with this spirit, with this confidence, with this attitude, we must be ready to fight more, to discover more, to thirst our quench. We should fulfill our duties, and once again we should be on this great journey of adventure. Or once again, we should experience what we have already experienced, and let's discover the new lands, new culture, new places, and meet the great Achilles. The message that we get from this poem written by Alfred Tennyson, that even though you become old, even though there are so many disabilities in your life, even though you have so many difficulties and problems in your life, even though you face so many challenges, there is a ray of hope of doing something new, and you should never stop in the place where you are. Definitely you should be contented and satisfied, but you should have that indomitable spirit in your heart that you can do much more in better way in your life. You can discover more and more things. So this is a great message from this great poem, which says, written by the great poet Alfred Tennyson. And with this we stop here, the poem ends here. Thank you.